Hi everyone, and welcome back to EECS 494 Discussion. This is discussion number 6 for winter 2021. 2 weeks ago, we talked about 3D modeling. We used ProBuilder in Unity. Last week, we talked about 2D pixel art sprites using Sprite. This week, our third and final sort of discussion topic on asset creation is on creating audio assets. I'm going to show you a piece of audio editing software called Reaper. Reaper is a type of software called a DAW, or Digital Audio Workstation. You may have heard of programs like FL Studio or Ableton. Those are also types of DAWs. Reaper is the one I'll be using today because it's the one I'm the most familiar with personally. In addition to that, you can download it for free and use it completely unlocked for 60 days. So I would, if you have never used a DAW before and you're looking for software to use for this semester, if you're interested in making music, I personally suggest using Reaper because it's great to try out for 60 days. And afterwards, it's a one-time fee of $60 if you want to buy it for yourself personally, which is relatively cheap compared to other DAWs like Ableton, which is, I believe I can look that up. Ableton is a bit more than that. You can see it's $199. Or $99 for the basic version, and then the standard version is $450, and then the highest tier is $750. With Reaper, the complete full version is $60. So, comparatively, it's that. And again, it's free. And if you start using it today, you'll have basically the ability to use it for free through the end of the semester. So if you want to use it for this class, that's a great option. The next thing I wanted to mention before I get into it is that along with installing audio software, you're going to want to install plugins because one big part of digital music creation is to use virtual instruments. And I'm going to insert some links in the description for this YouTube video for web pages that have links to a lot of great free virtual instruments that you can use. So there's this blog post on lander.com, which has a guide to a lot of free different types of instruments, including synthesizers, drums, guitars, things like that. And then there's a website that's also full of the same thing, called Plugins for Free, which I'll put the link to both of these in the description for the YouTube video. But without further ado, let me, where's Reaper? Here it is. Sorry. I'll launch the program. When you first launch it, this is what it's going to look like. It'll be completely empty. I can explain the interface to you. So the bottom panel here is called the mixing panel. This is where you can adjust the different volumes of different tracks. You can think of tracks as similar to layers in Photoshop or other photo editing tools. They can essentially represent different sources of audio in your music. So different instruments, for example. So in Reaper, you can create a new track by coming to this area and then right-clicking and saying Insert New Track. And that'll add a track with nothing on it. And now, I can insert maybe 3 tracks. I'll call this track Drums. I'll call this track Bass. And I'll call this track Lead. So these are my 3 tracks. The next thing that you can do in Reaper is if you, all of these tracks support 2 different types of content on them. You can either put audio files on these tracks, or you can put Midi information on these tracks. When you put audio on these tracks, you can put any audio file like an MP3 or a WAV file, and then you can apply effects to that audio just like anything else. So if I want to for example, record my voice, I can insert a new track. I can say voice, and I can click this red button right here. And hold on. I'm going to click this to mute myself in Reaper, but now you can see with this red meter coming up and down, Reaper is listening to my voice, and I can click record, and it's starting to record my voice right here. And so I can record an audio directly into Reaper like this, which is one possibility. Let's delete that. I don't want actually to do voice. The other thing, which is much more common and which is much more what a lot of you might end up using Reaper for, and it's in fact what I use Reaper with, is to have MIDI notes on each track, and then you put virtual instruments into the track, and then the MIDI notes are essentially input into the virtual instrument program, and then the output of the virtual instrument program is sound. So, one of the free programs that was mentioned in this website is called Helm. I'm going to be using that as an example, but again, all of the thing I'm going to show you is applicable to anything. So I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to choose. I click here this effects button because I want to add a virtual instrument, and now I can look through until I see Helm right here, and I click add, and it takes a little second to load, and now you can see in our track 2 we've added the virtual instrument Helm here. Now quickly, before I continue, let me change Discord so that the live attendants can hear what I'm working on when I do this. I think if I do this, now you should, when I start making noise, you should be able to hear it. So what's nice about Helm is it has a lot of built-in noises. So I can, let's say I pick this one right here. It'll load it up here. And now what's next? Now that I have a virtual instrument attached to this track and I want to hear it, I can click View and click on Virtual MIDI Keyboard. That will make this pop up. And then there's one more thing we have to do. The bass track, which is where we have our virtual instrument, we click the record button, we right click on it, go to Input, Virtual MIDI Keyboard, all channels. So now when we click on View and bring up this virtual MIDI keyboard again, we can click on notes on this keyboard, and the bass notes from this synth can come in. So now we can try out different basses. So I can say, okay, what is this trap bass 1? Let's load this in. Yeah, I don't like that one very much. Hard bass. No, that's very hard. I like this double bass noise. Let's use that. So now if we want to record some bass notes into this, we can go ahead and hit record. You can set the tempo, which is the speed, over here. So I'm going to set it to 150, and I'm going to click this button right here to turn on the metronome. Let me switch something real quick. You can click this button that says pre-roll before recording, and that means you'll hear the metronome before the recording starts. So I'm going to do that. And see, it'll start recording, and I wasn't ready because it went too fast. Why don't we make this slower? We'll make something more relaxing. Okay, and I'm going to hit stop. And I'm going to hit save all, and that's my recording. Now I don't actually want the ending, so I'm going to click over here and I'm going to hit the S button, which will split the recorded MIDI notes that we just got, and then I can click delete and delete that. Now we can listen to the recording we just made by clicking play. And now, if I want to edit it and make it a little bit cleaner, I can double click on this. And, oh man, I don't know if this will be visible on the Discord stream. Let me see if I can change that out again. But what will pop up is the MIDI editing window, where you can look at the notes closely and you can line them up and make them more precise, delete any stray notes. So you can even add a grid. And so since it can make sure things are lining up to the grid here perfectly. I want this to be here. And I want to delete that, put that note here. And then I want to delete this note at the end. Okay. And in addition to being able to record and edit, you can just insert things directly. So let's go to our lead. Let's add in another virtual instrument here. Actually, why don't we use a different virtual instrument? We'll use our saxophones here. So I'll add a saxophone here. And now instead of recording, I can highlight a selection of time, and I can click Insert, and I can click New MIDI Item. And that'll insert a blank MIDI item, which I can now double click on, and it'll bring up the MIDI editing pane that we had before. And now I can insert notes into it directly. Let me come back to Discord and change my windows again. So Discord won't be able to see what I'm writing, but they'll be able to hear it. Let's turn the volume down a little bit, the saxophone. And then okay, so, we can click like that and make precise notes too, instead of recording using our, hands. And now we can go ahead and click play and hear what we have. That sounds great. I'm going to make the bass a little bit louder. I'm going to make the saxophone a little bit quieter. But that's sounding pretty good so far. And, it's only been about 14 minutes. Of course, I didn't put in the time to download all the software because I had it already downloaded. But it's really that fast to just sort of start making music in Reaper. In addition to that, I mentioned you can, if you have like a keyboard, you can plug your keyboard into USB and then record using that. Sometimes I do that as well, but not everyone has that. So I'm mostly showing people how to make music without any additional tools, just the software. So another great free software is the Power Drum Kit, which we can use. So sometimes the interface for a virtual instrument will look like this, and you might not know exactly how you can turn MIDI notes into this, which is why, there's the virtual keyboard I mentioned, but there's also, if you insert a MIDI item onto a track, there's a little keyboard on the left here, and you can hit the notes and you can listen to what notes you want. This is what we want. And another feature that I wanted to show off, which is great for this, is Reaper, you can loop MIDI items. So I can move my mouse to the right edge of this and then click and drag it, and it'll loop it over and over. So why don't I hit the solo button so that we can hear just the drums that we just wrote. Why don't I make that one this note? So start over again and hear it. Nice. Let me turn off the metronome. And why don't I turn off solo? So now let's listen to all of our instruments together to see what we made. It sounds cool and jazzy. It sounds like I don't know, maybe a mystery game or a murder, and you're a detective solving the case. In any case, I've made some music now, and I'm pretty happy with how it looks so far. So what's next is to save our work, of course. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save Project. And I'm going to first save it as .rpp, which is the Reaper project type. And I'm going to call this 494 Winter 21. And then I'm going to export it because, we save the project file so that we can come back to this later and edit it as it is. But if we want to use it in our Unity games, we can go ahead and click Render. And it'll render it either as a WAV file. You can choose what type of audio file we want. I'm going to go ahead and pick MP3. WAV is generally better and higher quality, but MP3 tends to be good enough for a lot of things, and it's going to take up less space. So for this example, I'm going to MP3 it, and I'm going to go ahead and save it right to my desktop. I'm going to click Render. And hold on, in my Discord stream, let me make sure I change screens again. Sorry about that. So to recap again, what I did is I went to File, and I went to Render, and then I chose MP3. I chose where I wanted to save the file, and I hit the Render File button. And once that's done, if we go ahead, we should have the MP3 file here. So we can go ahead and listen to the MP3 file for the thing that we just made. So it sounds great, except you may have noticed there's about 1 second of silence at the end of the track here. This is a problem if you want to make music that loops in Unity, right? Because sometimes background music, a lot of the times, background music in video games, it loops and it goes forever. So in order to make sure you can get that in Unity, or in Reaper, you click Render, you uncheck this. There's this button that says tail 1000 milliseconds. We can uncheck this. We don't want the tail. We want it to just be without any additional silence at the end so that it loops perfectly. So then once we do that, we can rewrite it. And if I open the file and have a loop turned on, it loops perfectly on itself, which is great. And then, of course, to bring this into Unity, as always, you just go to your project in Unity. I can just go through that really quick. Why don't we open up a Unity project quickly? Okay, so here's a thing here. So now what we can do is I'll make a new folder and I'll call it audio, and I'll just bring the song we made in here. Here it is. And then I will oh well, I didn't want to add it onto this object. Why don't I take our sphere, or we'll make a new object. We'll create empty, we'll call it audio manager, and reset audio source is what we want to add. And then we give it the audio clip, and we check the loop button, and we click play, make sure play on awake is checked. And now if we go ahead and play the game, now we have our song in Unity, and we can check that it loops as well. Great. We got our music into Unity. We got it to loop. And yeah, there you are. Of course, Reaper can be used for more than just music. You can make your sound effects in it. You can make, other audio in it. You can record voiceovers in it. If you are recording a voiceover for later in Project 3 when you have to make your trailer, Unity is great. Reaper is great to add effects onto audio as well. Like you can add like a robot effect onto a voice if you're making a science fiction game. But overall, that's all I wanted to demonstrate to you all in regards to how you can get started making music for free if you want to do this for your own games. Hopefully that made sense, and hopefully this was helpful to you. In any case, I hope everyone is enjoying their short break before Project 3 starts, and I wish everyone good luck when Project 3 starts this Monday. It's going to be great. Next week's discussion will be a presentation on Project 3 tips. I sort of have put together a brief slideshow about things I wish I knew at the start of Project 3 that I learned by taking the class, that I'm going to give to you as a tips at the beginning of the project to hopefully help you out. That's what next week's discussion will be. All right, well, good luck and have a great weekend.